Well, it wasn't a night to remember for Wolves yesterday. Palace 2, Wolves 1. Got back in the very early hours of this morning after being down at Selhurst Park. We started off pretty well, to be fair. I mean, we had the chance. Diego Costa right towards the start. It was a great ball through. And I think, so I don't know what happened. I don't know if he got it stuck under his feet or what. And sort of the second attempt he had, the away end, we thought it had gone in. So sort of promising start. We started off all right. I think, it was quite brave with the introductions of Hugo Bueno, who obviously is pretty well rated in the 21s, 23s. Whenever I watch him for that level, he's always, one of the pick-out players. He's always fantastic. And I was really excited when he had been given more first-team opportunities as well. There were a couple of times, maybe over pre-season. I know you can't look into that too much, and I thought, is he ready for this step up? I wasn't sure. And to throw him in the deep end last night was a bit of a surprise. But I tell you what, what a fantastic debut he had. What a good first Premier League start. Really bodes well. And I think if he wants it, that's his place for the next game against Leicester as well. My frustration at the moment with our wing backs, our full backs, is that we can't get a consistent run of performances or games out of them. We saw Aït-Nouri, great game last weekend, I thought. Obviously ill yesterday, so couldn't play. Johnny has shown good glimpses, and then I thought he was really poor over the weekend, so it made sense for Semedo to come in. Semedo, an immaculate first half, and then I don't know what happened to him second half, and we just can't seem to get the consistency out of that area right now. But obviously we got our goal. It all came from a goal kick, and it was, I don't know if it was, but it just seemed like a training ground move, and it was phenomenal. Just how every player knew exactly what they wanted to do with it. And how good was it to see someone in Bueno whip the ball in with some serious pace, power, and onto the head of Adama Traore, who, aerially is actually pretty good. And it's great for, obviously, Adama to get a goal, a wonderful assist by Bueno. And I thought, a first half goal as well gives us something to sort of hold on to. Obviously, Neves hitting the post right at the end of the first half, an inch to the left, or whatever, and we're 2-0 up, and I think that's the 3 points done and dusted. But we just fell apart second half. Right at the start, you can't, when you want to hold on to a lead or build on something, you can't let the opposition back into it less than sort of 90 seconds into the second half. For me, Semedo, obviously, he's got to do a little bit better with that header. And then, obviously, the big talking point is the changes, all the subs. Now, it sounded like they were predetermined, which is fair enough. It sounded like there was fitness issues, which again is a little bit of a concern that we've still got these senior players that are struggling for fitness. I don't know if we need a coach that can really start getting the sharpness of these players back up again. So yes, they might have been predetermined, but I think to do 3 of them at once was rather stupid. Traore, Boubacar, that is, was on a booking, which I understood, and I thought, the way I thought he had a good game, but one, small mistake, especially with the way David Coote was refereeing the game. I think he could have got a red card. Nunez looked a little bit frustrated. Obviously, Adama was a bright spot, but still trying to build his fitness up. And I think that killed us in the end. Boubacar was almost sat just behind the midfield and doing really well there, making life a little bit more difficult for Palace. Obviously, Hodges come on, but still just lacks that little bit of experience. But he's just everywhere, and he's got a really good work rate, which is a good thing about him. And then in the end, it's the Zaha goal. It's quite frustrating. There's a number of people you can put the blame on. For me, in the ground, I spotted straight away Semedo was getting beat by Zaha. I almost just jogged to track him. Zaha lays it off, and Semedo's not even sweating to try and pick up Zaha again. And I think Collins and Kilman should probably do better. And Zaha literally has all the time in the world just to pick where he wants it. And we had half chances. There was shouts for handball as well, which I didn't really see much of in the ground. There's a few people saying, with VAR and the letter of the law nowadays, it probably should have been given. But I think the look was against us, hitting the post, and it's just these fine margins. And I think, hopefully the luck can go our way a little bit more against Leicester, because I think we need it. But small positives to take from the game, but again, just frustrating, because I think it is genuinely our own errors, staffed errors that are giving these teams these chances. And a must win now against Leicester on Sunday.
Wolves yet again fold like a cheap George suit. First half, I think we played quite well in patches. We had a couple of chances. Diego Costa's chance in the first half. Not sure how he didn't score. It was quite hard to see that chance from the away end with the angle and stuff. But I thought he's got to be scoring that, and a properly match fit Diego Costa eats those chances up. So, it's coming though with Costa. I do really feel that. And I feel that the goal that we scored to take the lead, fantastic team move. There's a lot about Bueno and the ball he put in, but it was nice interplay before that. But then to come short, never sprayed out wide. And Bueno's put in an unbelievable cross. And Traoré really couldn't miss. Great header though, nonetheless. And I think that Bueno tonight has shown everything that we've heard about him, what we've seen about him in the under-23s. I thought he was fantastic all game. I think he kept Michael Elise quiet for a large part of it. And one thing that is for certain is if that's Johnny or Aitneri receiving that ball where Bueno is, that ball isn't going in the box first time, or even with that sort of that whip and venom that he put on the ball. I mean, Aitneri would probably do a drag back and a step over and cut inside, and Johnny would again come inside really. So credit to him. That was his first full debut, obviously from the start, and looks every bit of a Premier League player for me. I thought he was really, really good. Second half, really sloppy goal to give away straight at the second half. I think, it's a tough place to go, Palace, and large parts of that first half, the crowd were very quiet and we nullified a lot of what they could throw at us, and you just need to keep it quiet for 10-15 minutes. Keep it quiet for 10-15 minutes. It'll get a little bit tetchy, and then within 90 seconds we've conceded a goal. Semedo, as good as he was in the first half, was diabolical second half. Absolutely dreadful. First half, great. Second half was like Keyflow. He was terrible. Like, positionally, kept giving the ball away. Just got sucked under the ball for the first goal as well. The second goal, embarrassing. No desire to get back at all. And I think there is a couple of other faults in that second goal. I think, looking back at it, Kilman's a little bit out of position. But Semedo, the one thing that you ask for as a Wolves fan is just run your knackers off, run your bollocks off, and it was well off it. And he was so bad in that second half, terrible. And I'm a big Semedo fan. I don't really want to launch into him. Even when he's had critics in the past, I've always said, I think he's a fantastic defender, fantastic player, but he was well off it second half. And yeah, he's got to take the blame for both goals for me. No, not good enough. The substitutions were really weird as well. I felt like Nunes and Traoré, they were going about the business okay. I don't think either of them were outstanding. I thought Traoré was good, breaking it up. I didn't think Nunes should have said, did much, but he was fine. He was okay. As soon as you take them both off for Hodge and Moutinho, all of a sudden Schlupp and Eze are starting to run off our midfielders, and that's where the problems started coming before that second goal. And even after that second goal, the athleticism, the pace that Eze and Schlupp possess against Hodge and Moutinho, two very similar footballers. I mean, parallels in terms of different ends of the spectrum in terms of their careers, but they are very similar footballers, and I just think it killed the momentum at that point, and really frustrating. I think that Leicester, like I said on the podcast this week, I think they're in a false position as well with their team. They're dangerous. They've got people that can hurt you. You've got your Madisons, Harvey Barneses, Tielemans, Patson Daka. I think he's a better player than what people give him credit for as well. And yeah, it's massive again now. We're going into a game at Molineux on Sunday. We can't lose. We need 3 points, and yeah, we probably didn't deserve a point on the back end of that second half performance today. But if we'd have just held on for a point, it would have probably given us a bit of grace for, Leicester not being a must-win. But I do feel now it's imperative we get 3 points on Sunday. But onwards and upwards, let's keep backing the team and see how we get on Sunday.
We're so in trouble this season. We are so badly in trouble. And I genuinely can't see, even if a new manager was to come in, I could see it taking months to try and get out of this horrendous slump that we're in. And it doesn't really seem like there's any short-term fix now, really. It kind of almost makes the game against Nottingham Forest absolute, null and void, really. To come to Palace, it's a tough ground. We never really do well there. To go 1-0 up and then make some horrendous decisions and almost bottle it the way that we did without really any fight to try and, win us the football match. It's just really, really frustrating. Final score, Crystal Palace 2, Wolves 1. I mean, Steve Davis he got a lot of praise after Forest, and to be fair, quite rightly so. He did deserve the praise, but today he got it completely wrong. The decision making with those 3 substitutions absolutely killed the game, and it just completely changed the momentum and the tide. I mean, if you look at the initial starting selection that we had today, to be fair, I was quite shocked that Hugo Bueno was playing. I thought, fair play, he's got some bottle to play in. Semedo in, who I was quite confident of having a good game. Obviously, I got proven wrong there. And probably our best midfield 3 of Matheus Nunes, Ruben Neves and Boubacar Traoré, who I thought was absolutely outstanding in the first half. The first half, it was kind of for me, just felt a little bit weird. Kind of every time they had the ball, they looked like they were progressing it well between the midfield and the attack. But every time we got the ball, we kind of looked like we was going to do something with the ball. They looked like they were dominating possession, and they didn't necessarily threaten us. They didn't really create any chances. We actually dealt with them really, really well. And when we got the ball, we looked absolutely threatening. I mean, in the first couple of moments, Diego Costa's got to put that opportunity away. I mean, you can make the argument for, he's got lacking match fitness, which is a completely fair and valid argument. For me, he's still got a score from there, really. And the goals come from absolutely brilliant play. Good little passage of play in the midfield. It was the first time we actually properly broke down Crystal Palace. And it's an unbelievable cross from Bueno, and Adama Traoré puts it in the back of the net. He looks bothered today, Adama. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. I thought Nunes was brilliant. I thought Bueno looked quite raw, but the longer the game went on, the better he looked, to the point now where I think he has to start week in, week out now. You're going to expect him to make some mistakes, but even still, I thought he was completely solid, and he done quite well against Elise. Got beat probably once or twice, maybe, out of the full 90 minutes. Shocking start to the second half, though. Try and keep it compact, don't try and create any early opportunities. Nelson Semedo, absolutely shocking defending, and it's 1-1. And just like that, the hard work that we'd done just to try and get into that position just completely gone out of the window, to be honest with you. I thought in the first half, the ref also was quite shocking in terms of he gave everything to Palace. The decisions that he gave to us, you were kind of like, well, it's a little bit of a strange one. Second half, he was even worse. It to the point where, I mean, everyone's obviously going to talk about the penalty incident. My first thought when I saw the replay was it wasn't, like when I first saw it happen, I thought it wasn't a penalty. The more you look at it, the more you think it's a penalty. He's made his body look bigger and it has caught his arm. The one that's really, really got me is the referee bottling the decision not to send off Joel Ward for that tackle on Jose Sarr. He's never going to get the ball and he's gone up studs first. It's a clear second yellow card. And the ref completely bottled it. I'm not saying that, the referee cost us the game today. By God means he didn't. We were our own victims of our own downfall. But the referee most certainly didn't help us. But then as soon as it was 1-1, you knew exactly what was going to happen. Wilfried Zaha was going to score and we was going to lose the game. And in classic Wolves fashion, Nelson Semedo, again, absolutely unbelievably crap defensively. And it was just really, really poor defending all round. And after that, I mean, we got into the box a bit more, but we've got this obsession with shooting from distance. I mean, it almost seems like we get into the box, we're almost terrified to get the shot away. You can see why we've only scored 4 goals all season. The fact we're now middle of October, towards the end of it, coming up towards November. We've scored 4 goals all season. We don't look like scoring in football matches. We look very, very easy to play against. And I mean, we made a Crystal Palace team who, let's not forget, they're not exactly in the greatest of form ever. Absolutely batters. They only won 2 games before today as well, the same as us. And we made them look absolutely unbelievable. And Steve Davis, shocking subs again. I could understand the Boubacar Traoré one, because there was a chance that he was going to get sent off, really. I thought, yeah, fair enough. Nunes, for me, was your ball carrier in the midfield. Someone who could just drive at their defence, which is something that we didn't create after he came off. and Adama Traore, who was our best attacking player, but yet we kept on Daniel Podence, who is pissing me off more and more. He seems more time on the floor than what he is actually playing, and Guedes looks like an absolute waste of money. I mean, he just looks worse than Trincao, and I was quite critical of Trincao last season. I was trying to think another positive. To be fair, Wang did all right when he came on, but he just wasn't in the box and he wasn't getting in goal-scoring areas. But this is quite worrying. We're now, as we said, towards the end of coming up towards November. We don't look like winning football matches. We don't look like scoring in football matches. We desperately need a new manager in, and we need a manager not just, that can keep us up for this season, but has got the long-term vision with us. I just don't really know where we can go. I mean, Fosun are going to do the cheap option, because Fosun, throughout this whole thing of, as soon as Lopetegui wasn't available, we're going to panic and we're going to go with some cheap options. We'll have the Nuno link to try and keep the fans on side with us when everyone can see the bullshit from Fosun. But I just can't see us get... I mean, Leicester now looks absolutely massive towards our season. If we don't win, I genuinely think we might go down. Right, thanks for having me on, and I'll catch you in a bit.
It's finished Wolves 1, Palace 2. Bloody hell, again. I'm just getting sick of a lot of things now to do with the football club. The performance in the first half was so promising. We come out, they had a lot of the ball. Yeah, they dominated possession, but had literally nothing to show for it. And we've created a great chance for once, a ball into the box that's been headed in. We go 1-0 up, and we seem to deal with the Palace pressure. Don't think Sars have to make a save, really, apart from them hitting the post. Sars had to do much for defensively. We did well. Semedo had a great first half. Collins and Kilman had a good first half. Bueno was unreal. The midfield three, I thought Bubkar, he looked so good. Yeah, rash, flying into tackles, I think he had 4 or 5 fouls in the first half and ultimately got a yellow early on in the first half. And the front three actually looked pleasing to start with. Adama threatening as always, Podence with a nice couple of little flicks, and then Diego Costa putting himself about as well. We go in and Neves has that free kick on half time, which it's a post, and we go in half time winning. We're happy. Wolves fans are happy. It's looking up, and you think come out first 10-15 minutes of the second half, just withstand the pressure for the first 10-15 minutes. And what do we go and do? Concede 1 minute into the second half, which ultimately kills everything to do with Wolverhampton Wanderers on today's performance. Semedo had such a good first half, and he will get slaughtered for his second half performance. But I could see why. You can't play well for 45 minutes and then just think, that'll do me. That'll do me for the day. I'll put a shift in for 45 minutes. Everyone else can defend. He's at fault for the first goal. Just gets underneath the ball rather than actually watching the flight. But even so, even before Semedo, it's too easy. You shouldn't get the ball in that easily. And you haven't even got time to come back from having a drink or a piss, and we're already one each. So we kick off, which feels like the start of the second half again. We withstand some pressure again. It just kept coming and coming and coming. And then we just kept losing the ball in stupid areas. People just dilly-dallying with the ball, thinking they've got so much more time on the ball, sponging out of play, passing it in to the wrong player, making the wrong decisions. And then substitutions come. I've just seen that Steve Davis has said that the Adama one was planned. Traore was fatiguing massively, and Nunes had to come off for a bang on the head. They were all great reasons. and all reasons that you have to accept as fans, because, I mean, Traore is our only threat going forward, really. So if he's injured for more games, then you kick yourself for keeping him on at the Palace game. But I think the other two, I mean, yeah, Núñez, you've got to be seriously careful nowadays with head injuries, but it didn't seem to me he was struggling or anything. But okay, what do I know? I'm just a fan. And the Traore one, Boubacar Traore, yeah, he hasn't played a lot of football, but I thought he did well. But to just bring those three on is what's really worrying with the football club at the moment. You brought on Matinho, who is world class. You brought on Joe Hodge, and you brought on, oh, who else did you bring on? Guedes. Oh, Gonzalo Guedes cost £30 million for Wolverhampton Wanderers. If people think he's better than the Fabio Silva signing, you are wrong. He's dreadful. He offers nothing. He throws his hands up in the air when he loses the ball. He can't cross his legs. He gets in front of goal and shits himself. Our squad depth is seriously worrying. I look at the bench every game and think, Christ, who have we got to bring on if we need a goal? No one. I mean, who have we got anyway for a goal? And that's the worrying thing for Wolves. You could see as soon as our first goal went in for them today, you knew we'd lose that game. You knew we'd ultimately come out in the end losers. No one's got any bollocks. No one's got any bite. No one's up for a fight. No one's up to get back in the game. And their second goal is laughable from multiple people. I mean, Semedo, yeah, jogging back, but let's look at Kilman as well. Just dangles his foot trying to block. What are you doing? Stand up and try and block the shot. Don't just try and pull your leg out and try and block it. You just let Zaha walk past you. It's embarrassing. It's amateur. And as soon as the second goal went in, you could have just turned it off. What's the point? What's the point? No one can drag us out. Not one player can drag us out of a losing position. And that's seriously worrying. Yeah, moving forward, I've got no clue what to say or what to do. I'd hate to be the manager. I could not stand being the manager of this football team because we've got one of the best squads in the league on paper, but they all play like fucking donkeys, and that is our problem. Moving on to another huge game on Sunday, which is Leicester at home. We seriously, I don't even know what we need. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know who to put in or what I think we should do going forward or to try and score goals or whatever. I do not know because it's all there. You've got all the ingredients, but you've just got a shit baker. You've got a shit baker who doesn't know what else to do. And that's ultimately at Wolverhampton Wanderers at the moment. So yeah, move on to Leicester on Sunday, which is another massive needed win, really, to kind of drag us out of this rut that we're in. But it's going to be tough. They score a lot of goals. Yeah, they leak goals, but we can't score them. So I'm sure they'll outscore us. But we shall see. So, yeah. Cheers from everyone, boys.
So, Wolves have lost again at Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park for what I think is the third time in a row, which is disappointing. I might be wrong with that, but it definitely feels like the third time in a row. In what felt like was another opportunity, an opportunity to build on the result that we got against Nottingham Forest. As much as that wasn't the best performance in the world, we got what we needed, and that was the 3 points. And we had the opportunity again today to build on that with a good performance and another 3 points to create some real distance between us and those below us, or us in the relegation zone. So yeah, it's a tough one to take, a real tough one to take, purely because of the first half that we had. It was positive. We passed the ball well, we carried the ball well, there were some great patterns to the play, and one of those patterns of play
was finished off by Adama Traore after an excellent cross from Hugo Bueno, who I thought was brilliant today, by the way. Definitely deserves a start again on Sunday. I'd really like to see what he can do this season. However, I don't know what happened at half time. Vieira must have had the team talk of his life, because Palace came out firing afterwards, and all it took them was about 1 minute and 15 seconds, I think, before Eze hung at the back post and headed past Jose Sarr after some suspect defending from Nelson Semedo, who was probably at fault for both of the goals today, I'm afraid, and I'm one of his biggest supporters. So tough evening for him today. But my big problem with the result today was as a result of the substitutions made by Steve Davis. Now, I think the team sheet off the mark was brilliant. It's the team sheet that I would have chosen. I didn't know about the Aït-Nouri illness, no one did, but Bueno ended up having a great game, so it didn't matter. But to make 3 substitutions 10 minutes after the end of the first half for players such as Núñez and players such as Traore. Now, I know Traore was on a yellow card, but we lost that steal immediately in the midfield. We brought on João Moutinho and Joe Hodge, who are, as much as I like them, players that you use to control a game when you're winning, not players to chase a game or chase a winner when you've conceded just. So in doing so, we've managed to take Núñez and Traore off, lose Steele in the midfield, and therefore get bullied out of the game for the remainder of the second half. We were so poor with the ball, and every single pass that Palace made from that left back or right back region was going straight through our midfield like they weren't even there. And then we would have to do, Kilman, Collins having to defend a counter-attack every single time that Palace went on the break. And it wasn't even on the break most of the time. It was purely just because we had no midfield there. They were all committing too high and leaving huge gaps. There were points in the game where I didn't think we had a midfield. How easy those balls were being pushed into Eze, pushed into Zaha, pushed into Schlupp. It was so easy for Palace to break us down. And that was the result. What resulted in that was 2 relatively easy goals that conceded that were definitely avoidable. And it's really disappointing, because I thought we were onto something after that first half. But again, as has been Wolves' problem all season, is putting chances away, trying to walk it into the net. I don't understand why players are so scared to shoot on sight. And this isn't shooting on sight from 25 yards. This is shooting on sight from 6, 7, 8 yards. Costa had an opportunity in the 6th minute. There were so many more. I don't know. I don't even think a manager can sort this, as much as I want a manager soon and I want a manager quick. Can a manager teach a player to shoot on sight? Because we've had 2 now, and it's just confidence. The players are just lacking confidence. And if confidence is all we need, then we need a manager to bring that confidence, because the players aren't going to create it themselves. Steve Davis has done a good job. He's done as much as he can do, but encouraging these players to take a shot when they have the opportunity to shoot is required here. And that's the only way we're going to win games, is scoring goals. Because if our defending was as suspect as it was today, well, the defending wasn't awful. On the most part, it was fine. But it was the midfield. It was the substitutions that lost us the game. And not only did we lose the battle in the midfield during the second half, the substitutions that came on did absolutely nothing going forward as well. I like Joe Hodge. I thought he was good against Forest. He was tenacious in the tackle, and we all saw that and we loved it. But to bring him on after 55 minutes for Núñez, who is ultimately a world-class midfielder who can carry the ball forward, and Guedes, I don't know what's going on. It's looking like a huge waste of money. I hope he comes good, because I know there's a player in there, but he just looks devoid of any confidence. Looks to stand around whenever we have the opportunity near the goal. Just stood there, watching it happen. A real tough one to take, and that's going to really impact morale going into Leicester on Sunday. I mean, we can only hope that they come out with the same tenacity from the get-go. We need a manager soon, though. Really soon, and I don't want it to be a below standard manager. I don't like the idea of Bosch. I do not like that idea, because from what I've seen, I'm no expert on his football. I've never really seen his teams play, but what I've seen is some calamitous defensive tactics. all to try and outscore the opponent. And I get we need goals, but these lot can't score goals anyway. These lot couldn't score if you had, a mannequin in the goal. So we need to build fundamentals, and we need a project now. I really do think that, because a quick fix could turn sour very quickly, and it could go backwards very quickly. And we are in a fight, and we need something to get behind, because right now the links that we've been given, apart from Michael Beale, for me personally, who I think is my favourite candidate of the lot, aren't great. So we'll see what happens in the next few days. Hopefully they can come out against Leicester on Sunday and put in another decent performance, because I was very happy with the first half, but the second half was abysmal. So more of the first half on Sunday and we'll be fine, but any more of the second half and we're in big trouble. Cheers, lads.